A few years ago, the idea that they would make an entire series of Star Trek based on the original pilot episode from 1965 would have sounded absolutely ridiculous. Then Season 2 of Discovery introduced these new versions of Captain Pike and Spock, and the viewers decided they would much rather see more of the Enterprise gang than the Discovery crew. And so they created Strange New Worlds, Season 1 of which is now available on Blu-ray. This tells the story of the adventures of the Enterprise crew 7 years before Kirk took over as captain. Unlike the other recent Star Trek shows, there's no big serial story going through the entire season. It's back to individual episodes, which is quite refreshing nowadays. This allows for a lot more variety between episodes. One week there's a tense cat and mouse thriller where the ship is being stalked by an unknown enemy. Next week there's a wacky body swap comedy, and there's even room for some out-and-out horror. And the quality is extremely high throughout. The only exception is in the Elysian Kingdom episode, in which the crew all take on the personas of fairy tale characters, which all feels a bit silly and self-indulgent. Anson Mount as Pike is hugely likeable, with a relaxed management style that includes calling his crew by their first names, and even cooking dinner for them. Throughout the season he has to deal with the knowledge that he's doomed to end up stuck in a box, only able to communicate by turning the light on and off, something he found out about in Discovery, and his dilemma over whether he could or should change the future gives him a strong emotional storyline throughout the season. Ethan Peck as Spock is hugely impressive, not just doing a Leonard Nimoy impression, but adding new layers to the character, with occasional emotional outbursts, and even a romance with T'Pring, which seemed like an arranged marriage back in the 60s, but now we see they were actually a proper couple, before it all went horribly wrong. Rebecca Romijn as number 1 is possibly the weakest link in the cast. She's usually a very good actor, as in the highly underrated film Femme Fatale, but here she kind of blends into the background a bit, with only the occasional spotlight on her character. But the season finale suggests she may have more to do next year. Christina Chong as Lan is much stronger. Her tragic backstory with the Gorn is explored in several episodes, and she definitely stands out. Celia Rose Gooding as Uhura has a very different look to Nichelle Nichols, and I guess it takes the next 7 years for her hair to grow out. She's a much more developed character here than she ever was in the original, with a proper backstory and plenty of layers to her character. And as a cadet rotating around the ship, she gets involved in a lot of the storylines. Jess Bush as Christine Chapel is far more watchable than Bagel Barrett ever was in the role. Here she's a lively and fun character, but still has the same complicated relationship to Spock as in the original series. And Melissa Navin as Ortegas is another highlight. Her character never gets the spotlight, but she frequently steals the show with her many humorous remarks, so hopefully she'll get more to do next year. Babs Olusan Mokun as Dr. Mbenga is certainly no Dr. McCoy, much more quiet and reserved, but his relationship with his daughter does explain why he's not so outgoing, and its resolution is probably the best part of the Elysian Kingdom episode. As you might expect, there's a huge amount of nostalgia involved here, with familiar characters and the original ship. The sets are still the same basic design as in the 60s, but they've all been given a massive visual upgrade, with lights and visual screens added all over the place to bring things up to modern standards, and with all the latest visual effects techniques used to make the alien planets look a lot more convincing. There is an inherent dramatic tension in knowing that over the next few years of the series, the new characters will all be killed or transferred to make way for Sulu, Scotty, McCoy and the rest. But for the most part, references to the original series are kept to a minimum. That all changes in the season finale, in which Pike visits an alternate future, where he has to make his own way through a classic episode of the original series. It's pure fan service, but it also works at a character level, as we see exactly how different Pike's leadership style is to Kirk. And it's probably one of the best episodes of the season as well. And it ends the whole season on a high. The Blu-ray box set has plenty of extras. There's an audio commentary on the pilot from Anson Mount and Akiva Goldsman, which is very entertaining and full of fun facts. There's a bunch of deleted scenes, some just a few seconds long, but episode 9 has 10 minutes worth, including one in which Uhura is giving her promotion to a bridge position, which doesn't actually happen in the broadcast episode. So perhaps they're taking her in a different direction for season 2. And there's a few behind the scenes featurettes as well. You get Anson Mount's behind the scenes video diary, which is a lot of fun. There's a behind the scenes look at the big expensive visual effects wall, like they have in The Mandalorian. And it's just as impressive seeing it behind the scenes. And there's the longest one at nearly an hour long. That gives you the usual behind the scenes footage and interviews with the cast and crew. It's a great package overall and well worth the money. Overall, this is probably one of the strongest opening seasons of any Star Trek show, with an instantly likeable cast and strong episodic storylines. Most Star Trek shows take at least 3 seasons to get anywhere near this quality, and I'm definitely looking forward to season 2. Next week I'll be sticking with Star Trek with my review of season 3 of Picard, so subscribe if you want to make sure of seeing that, and I'll see you next time.